no clock nearby. It will be dawn soon.
No. The horizon is black.
Would you not like my sisters to entertain ourselves by telling what we once were? It is beautiful, and it is always false.
No. Let us not talk about that. Besides, were we ever anything?
Perhaps. I do not know. But in any case, it is always beautiful to talk about the past. The hours have slipped by and we have remained silent. Sometimes it turns bright, and sometimes it becomes pale. I know not why this happens, but do we know, my sisters, why anything happens? Talk about the past. It must be beautiful, for it is useless and causes such grief.
Let us talk, if you like, about a past we might never have had.
No. We might perhaps have had it.
What you say is nothing but words. It is so sad to speak. Such a false way of forgetting ourselves. What if we were to go for a walk?
Where?
Here. From one side to the other. Sometimes this can elicit dreams.
Of what?
I do not know. Why should I know?
This whole country is so sad. I once lived in a country that was less sad. During the sunsets, I would sit by my window and spin thread. The window looked out onto the sea. Sometimes there was an island in the distance. Many times I
have never seen this. That window over there is the only one from which you can see the sea. You can only see so little. Is the sea from other lands beautiful?
Only the sea from other lands is beautiful. It is the one we see that makes us long for the one we will never see.
Did we not say we were going to share our past?
No. We did not say.
Why is there no clock in this room?
I do not know. This way, without a clock, everything is more distant and mysterious. Night belongs more to itself. Who knows if we could speak like this if we knew what the time was?
Everything in me is sad, my sister. It is December in my soul. I am trying not to look out the window. I know from there you can see hills in the distance. I was once happy beyond those hills. I was a little girl. I picked flowers all day long, and before falling asleep, I would beg for them not to take them away. I don't know why this feels so hopeless as to make me want to cry.
No, it's the same way. Always.
Let us tell stories to one another. I do not know any stories, but there's no harm in that. Only life will harm us. Let us not, not even with the hem of our dresses. No, give it up. That would be a gesture. Every gesture interrupts a dream. Just now, but I'd like to make it. But as for the past, why do we not talk about it?
I decided not to. Soon the day will wake and we will. The past is nothing but a dream. Anything that is not a dream. Present, it seems to have already passed us by. What is any given thing? How does it happen? Something beginning to become a thing. Surrounding me, fog.
To deconstruct the idea of seeing you, to be able to finally see you. This warm air is cold inside at the place that touches the soul. Right now, I should be feeling impossible hands running their fingers through my hair. That is a gesture we use to speak of mermaids. Just then, when I was not thinking of anything, I was thinking about my past.
I must have been thinking about mine, too.
I no longer remember what I was thinking about. The past of others, possibly. Past of wondrous people who never existed. A stream flowed near my mother's house. Why did it flow? And why did it not flow farther away or closer? Is there any reason for anything to be what it is? Is there any reason as true and real as my own hands?
My hands are neither true nor real. They are mysteries intrinsic to our life. Sometimes when I stare at my hands, I fear God. I feel the desire to listen to strange music, which must be playing right now in palaces on other continents. In my soul, everything is distant. Perhaps because when I was a child, I used to chase the waves of the shore. I lived with my hands amongst the rocks at low tide, at a time when the sea seemed to cross its hands over its chest and gone to sleep like the statue of an angel, so that no one would ever look at it again.
Your words remind me of my soul.
Perhaps because they're not true. I barely know I've been saying them. I repeat them following the voice, murmuring them to me, but which I do not understand. Yet I must have really lived by the sea. I love everything that rocks. There are waves in my soul. I sway when I walk. I would like to walk now. I do not do it because it is not worth doing anything, especially what you want to do. It is the hills that make me afraid. They cannot possibly be so still and so large. They must have a secret made of stone that they refuse to acknowledge. If I could lean out this window without seeing the hills and someone whom I could feel happy with would, for a moment, lean out my soul.
As for me, I love hills. On this side of all hills, life is always ugly. On the other side, where my mother lives, we used to sit in the shade of tamarind trees and think about traveling to other lands. There, everything was vast and cheerful, like the song of two birds on opposite sides of the road. Our thoughts were the only clearings in the forest, and in our dreams, the trees were casting on the ground a tranquility unlike their shadow. That was surely how we lived there. I and I do not know if anyone else would tell me this was true, so I do not have to cry.
I lived with my hands amongst the rocks and used to watch the sea. The hem of my skirt was cool and briny as it brushed against my naked legs. I was small and wild. Today I am afraid of having been. At present I seem to be asleep. Speak to me of fairies. No one has ever spoken about them. The sea was too vast to ever inspire me to think of them. Life as a child is comforting. Were you happy, my sister?
I am beginning, in this moment, to have been so. In any way, it all happened in the shade. The trees lifted more than I did. It never came, and I hardly expected it to. And you, my sister, why do you not speak?
It horrifies me that I soon will have told you what I'm about to say. My words in the present will belong to the past the moment I utter them, living beyond me. I know not where, rigid and fatal. I speak and this thought pours from my throat, and my words seem to me like people. My fear is larger than me. I feel in my hand, I know not how, the key to an unknown door. And all of me is a talisman or a temple aware of itself. This is why it scares me, like walking through a dark forest, to endure the mystery of speech. And in the end, who knows if I am like this? And if this is without a doubt what I feel?
It is so hard to know what we feel when we look at ourselves. Even living is painful when one realizes what it takes to be alive. Speak therefore without paying attention to your existence. Were you not going to tell us who you once were?
What I once was no longer remembers who I am. Poor, happy creature. I lived amidst the shadows of branches. Everything in my soul is trembling leaves. When I walk in the sun, my shadow is cool. I spent the few of my days alongside fountains in which I dipped the calm tips of my fingers whilst dreaming of living. Sometimes, at the lake shores, I would lean over and gaze at myself. When I smiled, my teeth would look mysterious in the water. They seemed to have a smile of their own, independent of mine. I always smiled for no reason. Speak to me about death, about the end of everything, so I can feel there's a reason for remembering.
Let us not speak of anything. Of anything. It is colder, but why is it colder? There is no reason for it to be colder. Why do we have to speak? It is better to sing, I do not know why. A song when sung at night is a happy and fearless person who bursts into the room and warms it up, comforting us. I could sing you a song we used to sing at the house of my past. Why would you not want me to sing it to you?
It is not worth the trouble, my sister. When someone sings, I'm at odds with myself. I have to be unable to remember myself. Then my entire past becomes another. And I mourn a dead life I carry with me, in which I never lived. It is always too late to sing. Just as it is always too late not to sing.
Soon it will be day. Let us keep quiet. The life wants it that way. Next to the house where I was born, there was a lake. I would go there and sit on the shoreline on a tree trunk that had fallen into the water. I would sit on one end and douse my feet into the water, stretching my toes downwards. Then I would stare very hard at my toes, trying not to see them. I know not why, but it seems to me that this lake never existed. To remember it is like not being able to remember anything. Who knows why I say this, and whether it was I who lived what I remember.
We are sad when we dream by the sea. We cannot be what we want to be, because what we want to be is always what we have wanted to be in the past. When the wave breaks and the foam hisses, it sounds like 1,000 tiny voices are speaking. The foam only seems fresh to someone who believes it to be fresh. Everything is anything, and we know nothing. Do you want me to tell you what I was dreaming at the seashore?
You may tell it, my sister, but nothing in us needs you to tell it. If it is beautiful, I am already said I have heard it. And if it is not beautiful, wait. Tell it only after changing it.
I am going to tell you. It is not entirely false, because certainly nothing is entirely false. It must have been like this. One day, I found myself leaning back against the cold summit of a cliff. And I'd forgotten that I had a father and a mother, and that I had a childhood and other days. That day, I saw in the distance, as if I only thought I had seen it, the ghostly passing of a sail. Then it disappeared. When I came back to myself, I realized I had already had this dream before. I do not know where it began. I never saw another sail again. None of the sails on any of the ships that leave port here have sails that look like that one did. Even when the moon is out and the ships pass slowly in the distance.
Through the window I can see a ship in the distance. Perhaps it is the one you saw.
No, my sister. The one you see is without a doubt bound for some harbor. It is not possible the one I saw was bound for any harbor.
Why do you say this? It could be. Well, I did not see any ship through the window. I wanted to see one and told you about it so as not to feel sorry. Now tell us what you dreamed by the seashore.
I dreamed of a mariner who was stranded on a far-off island. On the island, there were stiff palm trees, just a few, lazy birds meandering among them. I did not see if they ever alighted. The mariner had been living there since surviving the shipwreck. Since he had no means of returning to his homeland, and he suffered every time he remembered it, he set out to dream of a homeland he had never had. He set out to imagine another homeland for himself. A different kind of country, with different landscapes, other people, and other ways of walking down the streets and leaning out from the windows. Every hour he would build his false homeland in his dreams, never ceasing to dream. By day, under the scant shade of the tall palm trees, whose spiky shadows were outlined in and sandy ground. By night, lying on the beach, on his back, heedless of the stars.
If only there had been a tree that showered on my outstretched hands the shadow of a dream like that.
Let her talk. Do not interrupt her. She knows words taught by the sirens. I'm drifting into sleep so that I may listen to her. Speak, my sister. Speak. My heart aches because I was not you while you were dreaming at the seashore.
For years and years, day after day, the mariner would build in a continuous dream his new native land. Each day he would set a dreamed stone into that impossible structure. Soon he had a country he had crossed many times. He'd remembered the thousands of hours he had spent along its shores. He was familiar with the usual color of sunsets on a certain bay in the north, and with how soothing it was to arrive in the middle of the night, his soul resting on the murmur of the water parted by his ship, to a great port in the south where he had spent, perhaps quite happily, his youth.
My sister, why did you stop talking?
One mustn't talk too much. Life is always stalking us. Every hour gives birth to dreams. But we must not know this. When I talk too much, I begin to drift away from myself and to hear myself speaking. This elicits self-pity and makes me excessively aware of my heart. Then I get a mournful desire to take it in my arms and rock it like a son. Ah, look, the horizon has grown pale. The day must not be far off. Is it necessary to tell you any more of my dream?
Keep telling it, my sister. Keep on telling it. Do not stop telling it. Pay no attention to the breaking day. The day never comes for those who lay their heads on the lap of illusion. Do not wring your hands. The sound evokes a furtive snake. Tell us more, much more about your dream. It is so true, it makes no sense at all. The mere thought of listening to you fills my soul with music.
Yes, I will tell you more. I even feel the need to tell you more. As I'm telling it to you, I'm telling it to myself. 3 of us listening. No, not 3. I do not know. I do not know how many.
Speak not that way. Hurry and keep revealing it. Say nothing about how many can hear. We never know how many things are really alive and can see and listen. Go back to your dream. The mariner. What was the mariner dreaming?
In the beginning, he created the landscapes. Then he created the cities. Later, the avenues and alleys, carving them out of the substance of his soul. One by one, the streets, neighborhood by neighborhood, all the way up to the walls of the wharves, where he eventually created the ports. One by one, the streets, and the people who walked upon them, and those who looked down from their windows. He began to know some people, first barely recognizing them. Later, he began to know their past lives and conversations. All of it as someone seeing landscapes he has just dreamed. Then he traveled, reminiscing across the country he had created. And like this, he eventually built his past. Soon, he had a surrogate previous life. In this new homeland, he now had a new birthplace. Places where he'd spent his youth, ports from which he had set sail. He met playmates from his childhood, and later, friends and enemies from his adulthood. Everything was different from what he had known. Either the country nor the people, nor his own past resembled what it actually been. Oh, must I continue? It torments me to tell you this. Now that I'm telling it to you, I would rather tell you other dreams.
Continue even if you do not want to. The more I listen to you, the less I belong to myself.
Is it really a good thing for her to continue? Must every story have an ending? Yet in any case, go on. It matters so little what we say or do not say. We keep watch over the passing hours. Our task is as useless as life itself.
On a day with heavy rains, while the horizon was still uncertain, the mariner grew weary of dreaming. He yearned to remember his true homeland. He realized he could not remember any of it, that it no longer existed for him. The childhood he remembered was that of his dreamed childhood. The adolescence he recalled was that which he had created. His entire life was the one that he had invented. And he realized any other life could not have existed. For he could not remember a single street. Not one figure. Not even a motherly gesture. He could not even dream of an alternate past, to conceive that he had another one, something which everyone for a moment can imagine. Everything was real, and had actually taken place in the life he thought he had dreamed. Oh, my sisters. My sisters! There's something I've not told you. I do not know what it is. Something that would explain all of this. My soul shivers. I've barely heard the words I've been speaking. Talk to me! Shout at me so that I may wake up, so that I may know I am here in front of you, and that there were some things that are dreams and nothing more.
I do not know what to tell you. We do not dare look at anything. How does that dream continue?
I don't know the rest. I barely know how the rest goes. Why should there be more?
What happened after?
After? After what? What does after mean anything? One day a boat appeared. One day a boat appeared. Yes, it could only have been that way. One day a boat appeared. It passed by the mariner's island, but the mariner was not there.
Perhaps he hath returned to his homeland. But to which one?
Yes, to which one? What could have become of the mariner? Does anyone know?
I do not know what you ask me. Does there always have to be an answer?
Is it really necessary, even within your dream, for there to have been that mariner and that island?
No, my sister. Nothing is absolutely necessary.
At least, how did the dream end?
Not end. No dream really ends. How do I know that I am not still dreaming? Dreaming without knowing. That dreaming is not this nebulous thing I call life. Speak not to me anymore. I'm beginning to be sure of something. I know not what. Something that would explain all of this. Advancing towards me through a night that is not this night are the footsteps of an unknown horror. Whom might have I awakened with this dream I have told you? I have an unsettling fear that God may have condemned my dream. It is without a doubt more real than God will allow. Do not be so silent! Tell me, at least, that the night is almost past, even though I know it is. Look. Light starts filling the sky. Look. The real day is breaking. Let us stop. Do not think anymore. Let us not pursue this inward adventure. Who knows what lies at the end of it? All of this, my sisters, happened during the night. Let us not talk anymore about it. It is only human and convenient for each of us to express sadness in our own way.
Listening to you was so beautiful. Do not deny it. I know very well it was not worth the trouble. That is why I found it beautiful. That was not the reason. But allow me to say so. Besides, the music of your voice, which I listen to more than your actual words, leaves me, perhaps because it is only music, dissatisfied.
Everything makes us discontent, my sister. People who think grow tired of everything because it all changes. Those who die prove this, because they change along with everything else. Only the dream is eternal and beautiful. Why are we still talking?
I do not know. Why do people die?
Perhaps because they do not dream enough.
It is possible. Then would it not be worth the trouble to lock ourselves up in the dream and forget life so that death might overlook us?
No, my sister. Nothing is worth the trouble.
Sisters, it is already day. Look, the silhouette of the hills is filling up with wonders. Why do we not weep? She who pretends to be lying there was beautiful and young like us, and she also dreamed. I'm sure her dream was the most beautiful of all. What might she have dreamed?
Keep your voice down. Perhaps she is listening and already understands what dreams are for.
Perhaps none of this is real. All this silence, and this dead woman, and this rising day are possibly nothing more than a dream. Take a good look at all of this. Does it seem to you that it belongs to life?
I do not know. I do not know what it means to belong to life. How still you are. In your eyes. So sad. So uselessly sad.
It's not worth being sad in any other way. Do you not feel as if we should stop talking? It is so strange to be alive. Everything that happens is beyond belief, both on the Mariner's Island and here in this world. Look, the sky's already green. The horizon has a golden smile. I feel my eyes burning at the thought of weeping.
You did weep, my sister.
Oh, perhaps. It does not matter. What is this chill? Ah, it is time. It is time. Tell me this. Tell me one more thing. Why could the only real thing in all of this not be the Mariner? And us and everything else just one of his dreams.
Stop talking! Stop talking!
Oh.
That is so strange. It must be true. Do not go on. I know not what you are going to say, but it must be more than the soul can bear to hear. Look, it is already day. Look at the day. Do everything you can to look only at the day, the real day out there. Look at it. Look at it. It is comforting. Do not think. Do not pay attention to your thoughts. Look how it comes. The day. It shines like gold on a land of silver. The faint clouds turn around as they brighten. What if nothing existed, my sisters? What if everything were in a way absolutely nothing? Porque olhastes assim! What have you said that terrified me? I felt it so intensely I could not tell what it was. Tell me what it was, so when I hear it for the second time, I will not be as frightened as before. No. Do not say anything. I did not ask to get an answer, but only to keep talking to avoid thinking. I am afraid to be able to remember what it was. It was something immense and frightening, like the existence of God.
We should have finished talking by now. Our conversation stopped making sense a long time ago. Whatever it is between us that makes us keep talking has gone on for too long.
There are other presences here besides our own souls. And they must have dawned. You must have woken up by now. Something is late. Everything is late. What is happening to everything on account of our horror? Do not leave me. Talk to me.
Talk to me. Let us talk at the same time so I will not be alone with my voice. I am less afraid of my voice than the idea of the voice within me if I notice I am speaking.
What is that voice you speak with? It is someone else's. It comes from some kind of distance.
I know not. Do not remind me of that. I should have been speaking with fear, shrill and trembling speech, but I no longer know how to speak. An abyss has opened between me and my voice. All this conversation and this night and this fear. Oh, this should have ended suddenly after the horror you told us. I am beginning to think that I am forgetting it. That story you told, it made me think I should have screamed in a new way to express its horror!
My sister! You should not have told us that story! No. Full of horror, I marvel at being alive. You were sharing it, and I was so engrossed that I gleaned the meaning of your words independently from their sound. It seemed that you, your voice, and the meaning of what you were saying were three different entities, like three creatures that walk and talk.
You really are three different entities, each with its own in real life. Perhaps God knows why. But why do we talk? Who makes us keep talking? Why do I talk without wanting to speak? Why do we not see that it is day?
Who could scream to awaken us? I can hear my scream coming from inside me, but I no longer know the path from my will to my throat. I feel a fierce need to fear that someone might knock now at that door. It would be impossible, but I need to be afraid of it to know what it is that I fear. I feel so strange. It seems to me I no longer have my own voice. Part of me has gone numb and just watches. My terror has grown, but I no longer know how to feel it. I no longer know what part of my soul feels things. The awareness of my body has been covered with a leaden shroud. Why did you tell us your story?
I do not remember now. I only remember having told it. Seems to have been a long time ago. Oh, what a stupor! What a somnolence! Dulls my way of looking at things. What was it we wanted to do? What were we thinking of doing? I don't know anymore. If it was to speak or not to speak.
Oh, let us speak no more. The effort you make to talk wears me out. The gap between what you think and what you say pains me. My consciousness flows through the surface of my skin, fueled by the terrified lethargy of my senses. I do not know what this is. It is what I feel. I need to state rather long, confusing sentences that are difficult to say. Do you not feel all of this is a huge spider that is weaving a black web from soul to soul and snaring us?
I do not feel anything. Oh, my sensations are all palpable. Oh, who is it I am being? Who speaks with my voice? Ah, listen!
Who was it?
Nothing. I heard nothing. I wanted to pretend I heard something so you would think you heard it too, and I could believe there was something to hear. Ah, what horrors! What intimate horror detaches voice from soul, the sensations from the thoughts, and makes us think and feel and talk when everything in us longs for silence. The mourning and the unconsciousness of life. Ah! Who is the fifth person in this room who reaches in and interrupts us whenever we're about to feel?
Why do you try to frighten me? There is no more room for terror inside of me. I am so heavy with fear. I am completely immersed in the warm mud of what I suppose I think. Something penetrates me through all my senses. Something that binds us and watches us. My eyelids are dragged closer than the weight of all my sensations. My tongue is tangled in all my feelings. A deep sleep glues together the ideas of all my gestures. Why did you look at me like that?
It is time! It is time! Someone has woken up. There are people waking up. When someone comes in, all this will be over. Until then, let us pretend that all this horror was a long dream we had while sleeping. It is already day. Everything is going to end. And all that is left of this, my sister, is that only you are happy because you believe in the dream.
Why do you say that? Because I told it? No! I do not believe!